back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today, myself and Mr. Matt the Schnoff, Jasnoff, is with me.
I have a new nickname every week.
Well, it's always been the Schnoff.
I know.
I mean, that's what Mr. Josh started. He started that.
Yeah. Too bad he's not here today.
I know. I'm sad Josh didn't join us today.
I'm sad Josh didn't join us today.
Josh is our partner in crime, so I'm super sad that he did not come and hang out with us today. So today we are sitting down and we are going to discuss good times.
Good times.
Some JJ, and all the good times out there. Jimmy and Nick were cool enough to let us try through some of their varieties of offerings that they have. We've got
super nice of them to share that with us.
And we're going to review them. We've got the LFG Vanilla Ice Baby 2-Code.
It's probably my favorite sticker they've done.
Yeah.
I actually really like the light blue wax as well.
Yeah, they do a great job with that stuff. Then we've got the maple syrup, which is barrel number 1 of the maple syrup. It's got elf on it and the pancakes. Then we've got one of the honey barrels here, barrel 13. And then we've got a toasted, I think it's toasted bourbon. It's not toasted wheat. Yeah, toasted bourbon here. And this one is barrel number 5. So we've got
What's
a variety.
The barrel number on the vanilla?
On the vanilla, it just says LFG.
Oh.
So
LFG.
Let's fucking go. I will say, those dudes are some funny dudes. Ryan is definitely a character. He's got lots of things going on out there, and
it's awesome.
And he's not afraid to get outside the box and do things that most other folks won't do. So I can really appreciate that about them and their group. And I'll tell you what, if you want to get a bottle that they've released, I mean, you better be on the ball because that shit goes fast on their page. So they've got a huge following.
So, a little bit, I mean, you've obviously talked to them a little bit more than I have. So, why don't you run through what they've done with each one of these? Absolutely.
So the first one we're going to try is going to be the Good Times Vanilla. I'm going to take a little sip of that. But it's basically been, the bourbon's been finished in I think they said it was Madagascar vanilla extract barrel. So it was a barrel that had finished, a bourbon barrel that had vanilla extract put in it. And it was, I guess set in there for however long that, they put vanilla into a bourbon barrel to get a bourbon-flavored vanilla. And then they got the barrel back from that gentleman, then aged the bourbon back in that vanilla barrel, and they made this one. So
I'll tell you what, if you had this shit in a candle, my God.
Oh, my goodness. The nose on this thing is undamn real.
Love it.
I mean, for you, somebody with your nose, I mean, shit.
Smell it from upstairs.
It's like fucking smell-o-vision. That shit come right through the TV and stuff, man.
4 fucking D, guys.
That's right, man. So, but let's get a little taste on this. You can talk a little bit about it.
Probably the best.
While you're talking about the nose, and I'll get a little sip, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, the nose is exact. It's like when you pop open a bottle of vanilla extract for the first time, and you're like, yep, that's good. Now, Scott obviously sucks at pouring, and I have some wax floating in here, so it's going to add some flavor to it for sure.
Listen, that wax was harder than shit to get out of there, man. So, first initial thought process on the taste, I think it's pretty good. I'll tell you what, it's not as vanilla-y as I thought it would be. I mean,
you get a little bit of right up front, and then it just...
It does. It's got a super smooth finish on the backside. Let me get a little water in here and see what that tastes like. I mean, you know me,
Let me get a little wax in here. Oh, wait a second.
I'm a barrel snob, barrel strength, but I will say that any time a finish is done on something, I feel like you do it a little bit of justice by adding just a couple of drops of water sometimes, because you can overcook something, like what's the Denzel Washington said, and remember the Titans, you're overcooking my coach, my grits coach. So
let me get that water cup.
I think that can happen in that situation.
You can, yeah. If you leave it in there for too long, I agree. You get a little over-oaked.
Do you want another bottle?
I'm kidding. I'm going to make sure everyone knows you suck at pouring.
Just like 4 drops, and it does totally change this.
It changes the nose, too.
It does.
100%.
Yes. I think, honestly, I mean, this, and I added probably 4 fingers, like little drops off my finger, the tip of my finger, into this. And it, wow, I mean, like, I'm not kidding. Like 100 times different flavor. And it's actually way smoother, and the vanilla really, really comes out.
You get the vanilla more in the back for sure.
Yes.
Appreciate that with a couple of drops.
So, I mean, I will tell you, like, guys, I mean, I'm not your master blender. I'm not anything like that. But maybe you should look at just proofing this
It's-
down just a hair, because it definitely opens it up quite a bit on the flavor side.
Yeah, I think no matter, I mean, even if you proof it down, you still got to add a couple of drops just to really appreciate it. It's cool though to see the difference, not see the difference, but
Taste the difference, but you smell the difference. But dang, that opens it up quite a bit. So super impressed with how that one opened up with just a little bit of water.
I'm not mad about that.
So
Still wish I had that shit in a candle.
no, absolutely, that would make a beautiful, beautiful candle in that situation, and I think it would be super, super tasty. Just to have that in the house to freshen up the smell. So Matt, why do you think like these type of finishes have become so popular?
Well, so that's a great question, Scott. And we've really, we've been talking about it for a while, but, for a lot of newer brands that are out there, right, it's what do you do different? How do you set yourself apart from everybody else? And it's you have these cool, unique finishes. I mean, when's the last time you ever saw anybody have a Madagascar vanilla finish bourbon? You've never seen that before.
No.
And stuff, but it's cool, right? It's appealing, it's new, it's unique, and it's kind of the front that a lot of these new distillers are taking. And so it's cool. They've got to, they've got to make bottles, they got to pay the bills, keep the lights on, and you can only source so much stuff. Everyone sources a 12-year-old this and a 12-year-old that and a 6-year-old this and that. But what are you going to do that's different? What are you going to do that gets you to stand out? And these, this lineup we have, I mean, you got honey, you got maple, vanilla, and a little toasted. I mean, those are going to stand out on the shelves for sure. And so I think that everyone's taking that initiative of what do you do next to stand out. And I think this is a great start.
Right. So before we taste all these, of the finished products that you've tried in the past, I mean, is there one that like stands out as far as like a honey finish from Bellmead or a port finish from some other, distillery?
The Bellmead
Starlight
honeys.
does some stuff.
Starlight does some really cool. You know what? I actually had I think it was a peach brandy finish bourbon from Starlight.
I didn't get a chance to try that one yet.
Oh my God.
I heard it's really good.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Love that. But that's the thing, like, right? You get a little creative. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't, but you got to take that chance.
No, absolutely.
I mean, I've had some finishes from other distilleries across the world that are like, maybe you need to work on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But, some are also better. Some are better with wheated. Some are better with high rye. Some are low rye. Some are better with corn. It just depends. You got to play around with it a little bit. So,
right.
Like you couldn't, like I don't know if you would put a vanilla barrel with a rye, right? Like what would that do? That'd probably be pretty freaking gross.
Yeah, I would think so.
So you couldn't do something like that. But if
No.
you had I don't know. I mean, if you had a toasted rye or a honey rye, I don't know what a honey rye would do. Would that be cool? Maybe, maybe not. Somebody out there want to try it? I would be happy to taste it.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the next Good Times, pick here. We've got the maple syrup, which, by goodness,
Now,
man,
Scott has not stopped talking about this since we opened it.
This is straight up, and like I would nose fuck this glass right now.
He currently is.
I mean, it just smells so damn good. I don't know what they did with this. I mean, I don't even know how they even, like when they talk about like, finishes just kind of it's weird to me like how you put maple syrup in a barrel after it's already had bourbon in it, and then you pull the maple syrup out, but like there has to be maple syrup left in the barrel, right? Like I mean, it can't all go out. So I mean, so technically there's like that
Maple syrup in it.
like so but that's the thing. So when you put it back in the barrel for 6 weeks, and I don't know how long things take to finish, I'm not that nerdy as far as the knowledge of bourbon. I like to think that I know a lot, but I don't know if it's a 4, 6, 10 weeks that they leave it in there with that. But I gotta believe it's picking up some heat at that point, right? Because especially if it's summer, you got heat outside, the barrels are aging, and then you've just added another however much worth of sugar, which should be cooking and fermenting almost in that barrel. So I'm kind of anxious to see what this one tastes
Also,
like.
probably depends what time of year you did it at. I mean, if you've got the hotter part of the year, you're going to let that heat kind of really take advantage of those sugars. Be curious.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it like went up in proof, like 2 bips.
I mean, we're drinking it at what, 119?
Yeah, 119. I think that's what it was. And this is a bourbon syndicate pick. This is 119 proof. So yeah, I mean it's pretty hot. I don't think it's too uncharacteristic. I mean, I think it's MGP to start, if I remember correctly. And
It's
the guys might have
distilled
said
in
it wasn't.
Indiana.
Yeah, so it's MGP,
It's just distilled in Indiana.
distilled in
Okay.
Indiana. So, um, man, I just love the smell on this. So I'm gonna take a little sip while you're talking about the nose on it because
No, this is your nose. This is not mine. This is yours. You haven't stopped making love to this nose since we opened it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I love the nose on this. There's no doubt about it.
You know he likes it when he's quiet when he tries something.
Everybody, everybody likes it when I'm quiet.
I mean, again, noses. Shit, if you had these two in a candle in my house, I don't think I'd leave that.
So see, when you put a little water in it, so I'm trying all these with neat and then with water, the nose loses a little bit. So I'm handing Matt the water.
That's going to be pretty natural with that. You know, you're naturally going to lose your nose when you dilute it a little bit.
So lost a little bit of the nose. Taste-wise, I don't think it changed a whole bunch.
Really?
Yeah, not really.
Hey, thank you for not pouring wax into my glass this time.
You're welcome. So it's probably just a touch smoother, but it's not a whole lot. But I mean, it's got a good solid maple flavor. I almost think though it may take a little bit away from the normal flavors of the bourbon. You know, I normally, you know, with a good solid, you know, 4 or 5 year bourbon, you might get some heavy caramel or some vanilla notes. With this, I mean, the maple syrup kind of overrides that flavor. Like it's, I don't know. I like it. It's just different.
It's very different. It's almost more seasonal, right?
Yeah, almost like right now it's really good in that like warm, like colder months and things like that.
So that's the other thing, right? So you have a vanilla and a maple. And in my unprofessional opinion, these are very seasonal flavors, right? Like I wouldn't sit in the hot summer and drink a vanilla bourbon or a maple bourbon, right?
No.
I would want something lighter. These are nice, heavy winter, fall flavors, which go great with the times that we're in right now.
Yep.
Now, obviously, we lose track of the days of the week because no one goes anywhere anymore.
COVID sucks.
COVID sucks.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand where you're coming from there. But for summer, you know, like, so for me, rye is my typical drink anyway during the winter anyway. I like anything that's heavy rye. Gives you that nice warm Kentucky hug. So I don't know. But
now we're gonna make a nice little transition into what I think would be fun to drink in the summertime.
The honey?
Some honey.
You know, I'm with you. I think honey is probably good. I've only had a handful of different honey ones. I've not actually tried the Bellmead honey yet.
So tasty.
Well, you know, nobody's been nice enough to share any with me. So
I'm never nice. I don't share anything with you.
You share all your stuff with me. I just don't know if you've ever owned a bottle.
I have
and if
2
you
bottles of it.
You do?
Yeah.
You haven't shared it with me yet, then.
Dude, everything's packed up. Come on.
Listen, that's an excuse. You've had those for like 4 months now or 5 months, so that's an excuse.
A couple of years, actually. But listen.
If you've not shared them, then that's on you, right? So never mind. Maybe you're not as shareful or as giving as I thought you were.
Oh.
So this one now, I really like the nose on this one as well. Smells super, super good. It's got a heavy honey on it.
See, so I have the opposite thing. I don't have a single thing on the nose with regard to sweetness or what you think honey would smell like. But when you taste it, man, that shit hits you right away.
Really?
Yeah.
I get it on the nose, and I'm surprised with you.
Professional nose sniffer.
Dude, that's
right
your
here.
superpower, right?
That is.
You're like
Don't
Superman.
fucking question it.
So, but yeah, I do get a lot of honey on the nose. Now on the flavor, let's see where we're
I would
at.
say this one would put hair on your head, but I would be lying. So it's cool because the honey really cuts out on the proof, right?
Yep.
So you don't get a burn on the front or the back, which is really nice. You know, I like honey finished bourbons. I'm partial to them.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, after trying it after the maple syrup, I'm surprised that it's as sweet as it is, because to me, maple syrup is typically a little sweeter than honey.
But honey does something different when you mix it with bourbon. It just the real sweetness of it comes out more than maple syrup, because we've tried another maple syrup barrel, and I don't know. Both of them have the same effect, right? The nose is fantastic, but the sweetness just isn't quite there with it.
Gotcha.
But the honey, I like honey.
Yeah. No, this is
But again, the nose, right? It doesn't have an outstanding
no.
nose
I mean,
that has
it's not over aromatic with honey, but I can definitely smell the honey in this bottle.
the vanilla.
The vanilla and
was
the
a cool
maple
nose.
syrup, you can definitely smell straight up vanilla, straight up maple syrup. This, you can smell the honey, but it's not as pronounced, I guess, as it is in the other two finished
but
ones.
it's definitely like, so this is, what I said, more of a summertime sipper, right? Like I could sit out by the pool and drink this. My ass doesn't need to sit out by the pool and drink anything, but
your ass needs to get in the pool.
Yeah, right.
I remember when I met Matt like 3 years ago. You're a little more svelte back in your younger days.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Starting to get that dad bod.
It happens sometimes. COVID and a child really do that to you sometimes.
Kids fuck up your whole world. Man.
Yep.
You love them. They're the greatest thing in your life, but man, they fuck up the shit that you used to do.
Yeah. Like sleep and eat normally.
I started eating more when I had kids.
Right. Not normally. You're not normally eating. Like you don't have your normal dietary.
Oh no, that's definitely true. Plus, especially when your kids start eating. Like right now, your kid's still off the tit technically. And I don't know if you're breastfeeding or not. That's not any of my business.
My titties are fantastic for breastfeeding. Thank you for understanding.
But what I mean is, when they're bottle fed versus food fed, it's definitely a difference because you don't have to worry about whether they're going to eat it or not eat it. And then when you get them on that jarred baby food stuff, for one, that stuff is awful. But kids seem to like it. But you don't want to give them, spices.
My dog likes it as well.
Spices and herbs too soon because then they won't eat anything that's bland at that point, and it's just really hard with kids in that situation. So I don't know. All right.
But you give them some honey bourbon on their gums and they feel fantastic.
But when they cut their teeth, I'm not going to say that maybe, a little...
something.
Little JD didn't touch the kids' chompers every now and then.
You know what? Whatever gets it done, right?
That's right.
Daddy needs to sleep at night, too.
Shit, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes, and Daddy needs as much sleep as he can get. There's no doubt about that one. Crazy-ass kids, man.
Thank you to Tennessee Whiskey for helping Scott's kids sleep at night.
No, thank you for Tennessee Whiskey for helping Scott sleep at night. Shit, it was, and I'm joking. It wasn't ever Jack Daniels. It was probably more like Four Roses or Old Forester, things like that.
Oh, the expensive shit.
Not really.
Just kidding.
You know me, I'm a cheap drunk. I do like the expensive stuff. I just don't like to pay for it.
We know. So if anyone has any cheap shit they'd like Scott to try.
No, I don't want to try cheap shit. I've already tried all the cheap shit. I want you to send me the expensive shit so I can drink it. But all right, so now we're going to go on to this toasted barrel. I really like the honey.
Toasteds in the past have been hit or miss, right? You have some people that over toast it, some people that under toast it, some people don't necessarily.
So in my humble opinion, and this is just me in general, I think most toasted products are too tannic. I think there's too much oak. I'm not a huge fan of any of them.
So
I like very few of them. Like the one that we picked when we did our barrel pick, I liked it, but it still was a little oaky for me. Thing.
So my question for you, and I mean, when you see a toasted, what do you compare it to? Because there's always something that you compare it to.
So any of the toasted products, I typically go with those bourbons that are super, super old.
Yeah. But what flavor profile wise, you've obviously had one that you liked and you try to replicate that taste and you're like, oh, this isn't as good as this, or oh, it's better than this.
So
what's your Mendoza line for it?
I guess whenever I try a toasted product, and especially when they're barrel strength, because that becomes difficult, right? Because I think the watered down products, right? So anything like your Woodford Double Oak or your 1910 on the Old Forester, which are two of excellent products, right?
Love the 1910.
So you get some of those marshmallow, some of those sugary flavors, but those are heavily watered down. Now, when you get a barrel strength one, you typically, in my opinion, it's more heavy on the oak side. So you get more of those tannins that come from that barrel. So sometimes you're getting something that I would consider more earthy, like some cedar or pine, different things to that nature. And I think that's why I'm not as huge of a fan of as a barrel strength toasted person as I am a somewhat proof down version of a toasted barrel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're going to try this one. Slap it in the mouth.
Slap it in the mouth.
Hit it on the nose. The nose on this one's really good. I will say that.
Good toast.
We got 4 barrels
Good color on it, too, by the way.
It's got a great color. The nose is fantastic on this thing. Matter of fact, it's even being drank out of a Good Times, Glencairn. So getting in their nose good.
Is there a sticker on this one, Scott?
There is a sticker. This one is Bourbon Black Friday of 2020. So this is one of the ones they released just this past Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah. So Black Friday. So that's the other thing. So do you prefer a 375 or a 750 if you're going to just buy stuff to be trying things?
Oh, if I've never had it before, I'll always take a smaller bottle.
Always take a smaller bottle?
Yeah, sure.
You want to go balls deep in it right off the bat?
My collection would tell you otherwise, but...
I was about to say, I think most of your shit's 750s. I see a lot of 375s rolling around in there.
There's a couple.
Oh, no, absolutely. So...
Actually, I'd just rather you buy it and I come over and try it, and that's really my preference, but...
So, see, this one, to me, super oaky. It's got a lot of tannic to it. I don't know if it's over tannicked, but it's definitely got a different flavor to it.
Long finish to it.
It's a super long finish, yeah. I'm going to touch it up with just a hair of water, because I think that's the responsibility of the taster to taste both sides of it. But, it's got a good... Matter of fact, the finish on this one is excellent. It's got just enough wood that it's going back, but it's not overly oaked in some capacity.
See, I think there's a lot of oak in this.
Yeah, so it's very, very oaky, but it's not like it's not that bad oak, right? It would be more of the sweeter oak. It's more like that toasted marshmallow in that capacity.
Marshmallows.
But with the water, man, it opens the nose quite a bit. I don't know if you tried that or not, but...
Damn, son, sling that back.
Oddly enough, it gets a little hotter.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of adding water to it.
Yeah, no, I think that one's a straight one.
Which is interesting, usually.
Yeah, usually if you add a little water, it actually brings down the heat. I felt like it accelerated, especially the heat on the finish.
Right.
So I think that's definitely not one that you would want to add water to. The other ones, I don't know. The maple syrup and the vanilla, I liked with a touch of water in them. Probably the vanilla more than the maple.
I actually enjoyed drinking the honey.
The honey just straight up, yes. No, absolutely, 100% with you on that.
Vanilla smells so good.
That vanilla is really good, but I'm still probably, of the noses, the maple syrup is still my favorite on the nose.
All right, Scott, I got to ask you, 1 to 4, how you ranking them?
1 to 4 on these.
I'll tell you mine.
We'll go... Can we do nose and then taste, or are we just going overall?
No, overall.
Overall
Score. Judge's overall score.
So overall score, and I'm going to taste, and I'm going to rate them based on neat, not on after I added a touch of water.
Sure.
So neat, I'm going to go honey, maple syrup, vanilla toasted.
I agree with you. Honey's number 1, but I'm going to go vanilla, the syrup, and then the toasted as well.
Huh. Yeah. And it's not because the toasted is bad or anything like that. It's just I think the flavorings are just super unique. They give it a lot of different flavor profiles. It gives you some stuff to kind of go on.
Yeah. I would concur.
I think it's funny that you don't like the maple syrup as much as you like the vanilla.
Yeah, I love the vanilla. I don't know. Maybe because I like the smell of it better, but I think it drinks better.
No, I don't know. I think with water, I think you're right. The vanilla is definitely better than the maple syrup, but without the water, I think the maple syrup is better than the vanilla.
So Vanilla Ice is staring at me on the sticker, so I really can't.
Let's talk about this. So do you know who does LFG's labels? You don't know?
No.
I don't know. The guy that does them, dude's pretty smart. And it may be that Ryan comes up with all of them, and then they just put them out there. But even hell, I think Derek, the big dude that's the Ohio State fan, I see him on one of the pages. I think he did one that was Mahoney Ali or something like that instead of Muhammad.
Funny.
And it had like a little boxing glove that was attached to the wax. So you got like
That's
a
really
boxing
funny.
glove. And then the actual sticker was Muhammad Ali standing over top of somebody. It was like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee or something like that. So these overall, pretty good products. We both agree that the honey is the best of the 4 in our humble opinion.
Right.
And then we've got a split on the maple syrup and the vanilla in second position, but we agreed that the toasted was our least favorite of the 4 that we tried.
Agreed.
So if you were going to go out and you had the money to buy it, I think all these run around $80 to $100 a piece. Which one are you dropping your cash on? Is it the honey automatically?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. And then what would you say the price point? I mean, are you good with $80 on all of these?
I think it's a bit pricey for it. I think that when you have a brand that's not very recognizable to a lot of people and it's new to the market, there's obviously a threshold people are willing to pay for it.
Right. You say that, but Old Carter's pretty expensive.
Old Carter is very expensive.
But then again, they're supplying you with 12 and 15-year-old Jews.
Correct. So
maybe that's the price differential.
Ferraris aren't made for everybody, all right?
No, that's right. No, absolutely. I'm just trying to get a gauge on, price points, things like that. I agree. I think, $70 to $80 is kind of my swing on anything that's kind of in that newer family. I think with the store picks, that's about where they run at. I know that some of these bourbon groups will charge a premium because they put a pretty little sticker on it and things like that. But
you got to appreciate that it is barrel proof. It is single barrel.
No, absolutely.
And maybe the 375s for $40 or $50 is maybe more up people's alley for trying than a fifth for $80 or $90.
Right. No, I think that might be a good idea.
I understand the business behind it, but
yeah. No, absolutely. So maybe that's the play if you're going to do one. I would suggest you definitely contact Nick and Jimmy and just say, hey, you want to do a barrel pick? If it was me, I would say grab a honey, let them do their thing. They seem to know what they're doing on that piece because, like I said, all four of them were good products.
Right.
But maybe you try the 375s, get some extra bottles out of it, and, maybe that gets them on a premium price on their side, and it gets you an opportunity to buy it and sell it through your store, through your bourbon group. In our situation, we're actually looking to do one with a couple of charity organizations that we work with. You all know that we love to do those type of things.
Right.
But I think that that's the way I would go about it, is maybe with the 375s over the 750s.
Agreed.
So... Well, all right, Matt, we're going to get off here for today. If you want to reach us at Bourbon Barrel Talk, you can find us at bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com is our email address, www.bourbonbarreltalk.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the old social media stuff. And then you can
social media stuff, too.
And if you want to contact us, that's the easiest way to do it. If you have a specific question for myself, Josh, Matt, don't be afraid to inbox us and just say, hey, hey, Matt, we always hear about your nose being so big and you being such a good smeller. What's that like whenever they, rag on you all the time?
It's great. It's a gift.
Then you can ask those type of questions and we'll be glad to answer them all on the air for you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Instagram. On either Apple Podcast. Right now we're on Pandora, which is a nice ad. We're on Spotify, iTunes, everywhere you can find any kind of podcast, you can find us out there. So this is Scott, Matt. We're having a good time.
Having a great fucking time.
And we're signing off.